for me, songs kind of come from two different places, right? So it's either, I'm teaching guitar somewhere in a school somewhere, a student doesn't turn up, and I've got 20 minutes to noodle on the guitar, and you come up with a little idea, and that's where one of the places that kind of seeds for songs come from, really. Occasionally I've written a song like Long Gone, for example. I wrote entirely in a 20-minute guitar lesson where the student was absent, But more often than not, there'll just be little ideas. Or we might be playing, when I play Kaylee's with Jenny, there's always this kind of 5 to 10 minute break when the caller is explaining the next dance. And I'm to the irritation of everyone else, I'm kind of noodling away. And quite often, because you're warmed up, because you're playing a lot, and you're warmed up, and you sort of play little things, you think, oh, that's cool, and I just kind of record it on my phone. So songs come that way, and then the other way that they get seeded is when I hear something that inspires me, and it might just be like a tiny little moment from a tune. I can track quite a few songs back to little snippets that I've heard that have just really excited me. And I got into this band called Exploring Birdsong, which are a fantastic, young, proggy kind of band, led by Lindsay Ward, who's a brilliant singer. And she's really into this band called Agent Fresco. So I thought, I'll check them out. And they're, where are they from? From Iceland. I just, God, this band are incredible. And they have this really kind of energetic, percussive attitude to what they're doing, and I thought, oh God, I love that. And that gave me this little idea for this song, which I've started to demo the idea from. It's called Boogaloo. So that's a file name that is probably not going to stick, unlike Wongle Number 9 from Line Up was a file name that stuck, by name this one. So typically, I'll start on the guitar, and I had this little chord sequence, which is this is all going to sound really rough, by the way, because this is a demo. But I'm a big Steve Hillage fan, and I started playing the Steve Hillage chord. Yeah, that's pretty actually in his guitar, but this chord, right? Maybe sound a bit here. God, I love that chord, right? So I don't know what it is. It's a kind of E major 7, but it's got a 6 or 7, God knows what in it. Anyway, that chord, I think, I nicked from Steve Hillage, about 35 years ago. And so I love that chord. So I'm using that chord, and it's got this kind of 6, it's in 6. Yeah, so once I've got the guitar, I'll normally add some drums, which I can program from here. All right, so this is in 6/4, which, I mean, I suppose it is quite an unusual groove. I mean, my sort of music that I got into as a 14-year-old. Okay, the first band that I ever saw live, a friend took me to this gig. First band were actually Griffon, and then I thought, well, there can't be anything better than that. And then the main band were Yes. So it just took the top of my head, and I suppose that has completely informed what excites me about music ever since. And of course, they tend not to write usually in straight standard 4/4 grooves. Now, I love a 4/4 groove. I mean, I love the funk and the groove. I'm really into that. But what kind of comes to me instinctively, I don't actually think, I'm going to write something in 6 or I'm going to write something in 7. I never do that. I just come up with an idea, And this, I like this, hang on, let's try this one. I'm just playing this and I'm thinking, I'm digging this. Yeah. And then when I come to program some drums for it, it's like, oh, okay, that's not in 4/4. It's in 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there's a bit later on actually where it does go 4/4, right? So 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, that's not a conscious decision to go into 4/4. Back to 6. 4, 5, 6. It's not a conscious decision. It's just I'm playing what is exciting me, and then when I come to program drums for it, it's like, oh, really? Okay. In fact, I've worked on stuff before and put it out to the band as a demo, thinking it was in 4/4, and then Jess will say, no, mate, it's in 6. A little bit of bass, because the drums are cool, I think. Okay. Melodic bass lines, but also dumb groovy bass lines. So this is a bit of a that's kind of just in the pocket, and then something a bit melodic that goes against the chord sequence. This is just coming into the bit 4 again. You know, I'm not a bass player. I suppose that's probably why the bass lines that I add tend to be quite melodic. 2 things. Probably one is Chris Squire, because that's how he plays, and the other is I'm really a guitar player, so I'm always looking for melody and for kind of chord embellishment. But really, you know, just laying it down, roots, groove, that's really what you want from a bass player, to be honest. Okay, so, you know, don't bother asking me. I'm not your guy. Once I've got my kind of initial ideas in, then I'll present that to the band, and then they'll go, well, no, you know, actually, or they'll have their own interpretation. So sometimes they'll use pretty closely what I mean, they'll always, you know, use the essence of the idea, of course, but and sometimes they'll use the same parts, but mostly they'll adapt it to enhance it to suit their playing style and to what they think works best in terms of the song. So I got drums, bass and guitar, and then I've put in so a big part of the band is Jenny's fiddle playing, and I will sort of program ideas, and then because she understands obviously how the fiddle works, but also comes from that folk background, and in particular the music from Donegal, she's got very much her own idea of how a tune should sit and lie over the chords and rhythmically. So I'll just give her something like this. Let me see if I can find something. Here we go. that's what Jenny will get to play with. You know, doesn't sound anything like a real fiddle, but it's just enough to kind of demonstrate the idea. And then keyboards, you know, Steve will normally get nothing because I'm not a keyboard player. But on this one, I had this idea, don't know where it came from actually, but this kind of descending crazy synth part. So no way I could play that, you know, so I just step edit that in. So then I've got this, you know, kind of rough plan and some ideas for the song. So this sounds ridiculous, but this is just the way that the demos come together. So I've got a little vocal sound here. I'm just singing rubbish, nonsense, you know, I'm not singing words or anything like that. Just put little ideas in. Yeah, it's not nice, is it? So what will happen with the vocal line is that that will evolve into something close to what it's going to be, and at that point I will add lyrics, which is always the last thing to happen and the thing that I find hardest by far. And I think a lot, I do think a lot about, I'm not a kind of natural writer, lyric writer, and the truth is that I hear a lot of lyrics out there which I just think are not happening. so for me, I really want to try and write something that is not crass, that is, you know, that is not preachy or too specific, that allows people room to interpret it themselves, but that has enough to sort of engage and warrant someone actually thinking about them, perhaps, you know. So I find that really hard, and that's you know, I can put these things together. If I've got a spark of an idea, a seed of idea, I can put things like this together quickly to this stage. The lyrics take a lot of time, a lot of thought. All these parts will evolve over time. You know, they'll evolve obviously when Jess works on them and she comes in and puts some vocals down, and then we'll go and hopefully rehearse them, and it'll evolve again because the guys will have got their parts sorted out. I mean, this is in an ideal scenario if we can actually work on something together as a band in the studio, prepare it, rehearse it for playing live. That doesn't happen very often. Quite often we're just you know, preparing stuff at home and then coming to either record it at home and send me the files, or we'll go into a studio. Me and Pete will always go into the studio together to work on the drums. He will have worked out what he's going to do, and then I'm kind of there more of in a producer role. Obviously we can't do that here, so here is just the computer, so we'll go to a studio with, you know, some nice mics and a good engineer. But so with this, hopefully with this song, we'll get to work up the parts, develop it, it'll evolve, we'll rehearse it, it'll evolve in the studio, and then eventually it will get played live. That's the end game.